think of the Ibobise injury? Do you think that should have been a red, like from the TV? Because I saw it later on my like phone.
Yeah, it's always tricky when you come over the back of someone. I don't know. I mean, probably a yellow, honestly, for me.
I'm trying to make excuses, but we all saw very clearly, like everyone who was around me, when the guy was breaking through, Judson goes to make the first challenge and then slips, so he doesn't reach the guy. He falls short of it. Then Nathan comes along, and then his back foot slips, so he overdoes the challenge. And then JT started to cheat near the right post to force him left, and he leaves left early, and then his left foot slips, so he like falls on his knee and he can't make the full dive. So our last three players all slipped before, and again, can't use that as an excuse. Obviously, like both teams had to deal with the same weather. I'm not saying that's the reason it happened, but it was also really unfortunate. That's how we lose our unbeaten streak.
Honestly, I didn't really get to pay too much attention to Almeida. I was just focusing on the run of play, not really Almeida. But he subbed on Fierro right towards the end, and that hurt my brain because then Fierro managed to clear the ball on a rebound that he had a chance to put in. I don't know, what were you referring to?
So I feel the starting lineup and how we played, people weren't really talking much. And one thing I noticed, at least this is what I was viewing from the pitch, and I really appreciate Almeida for this, it looked like we started with a 4-2-3-1, and then somewhere in the game, we kind of, like in the first half-ish, we switched to a 3-back. I wasn't sure on the exact formation, but it looked like a 3-back again. And I like that Almeida is making those changes, and I like those mid-game changes. I thought those were good.
Yule, I swear.
Yule was rough. I saw him make one really good forward pass, but like I want him off set pieces. He's just not doing well on set pieces. And then he just wasn't really noticeable for us. And then it looked like he was panicking when he get the ball and like he had to kind of like run. It just, the confidence isn't there anymore. It looks like he's a little bit shot for confidence. I liked Rios. I thought Rios did some really good hold up play for us, and he was winning us fouls, and he was doing well of like delaying like them from crossing. So I thought Rios was a good sub. I'm trying to think who the other ones were. Marie came on, and he was in some good spaces, but he wasn't really getting played to that point. I thought taking off Tanner Beeson was a poor decision.
I agree.
I don't know if he's dealing with an injury or fitness, but he usually seems to, or maybe it's because he gets put at left back and he does a little bit more running, but he always seems to be the one to fall out of the three center backs.
Yeah.
So that I'd be curious to know why he's the one that constantly gets subbed off. Maybe it's just Almeida's preferences, but I really didn't like that either. It was just it was the final moment substitutions from Almeida that I didn't like. The rest I think he got right. I like that he's trying to change formations during the game, and then obviously the injuries wasn't great. I didn't get to see my boy Tommy Thompson. He was warming up the whole game.
Yeah, it's tough because that's just how Almeida wants his wide players to play. You know, he likes them trafficking back. You know, Espinosa does a lot of work down that right-hand side. And so I think he kind of expects the same with Cowell. But I agree. He's good when he's on the shoulder of the defense. And because he brings that threat in behind. However, he also, in the last couple weeks, or last couple games, I should say, he's had a little bit more success with the ball at his feet too, checking back and stuff. And so I think that if he can bring both of those dimensions into his game, he can be a lot more dangerous rather than the old Callum where we just saw him running in behind every single time, you know.
Yeah. The problem is we've now dropped to 10th. We're 3 points behind being like in contention again, but we're still right there. But there's 12 games left and we don't have an easy schedule. And Almeida said in the post-game press conference that, like, what does he think? Like, the next game has to be a win? Like, that was a question. Does the next game have to be a must-win? And he said, I think the rest of these games have to be must-win. And I completely agree with that. I think we dropped too many points, and I don't think it was necessarily, not that obviously it wasn't a good result, but it was a good performance, unlucky. But again, we dropped too many points in silly games earlier in the year.
Reminds me of all those games we drew, like 5 in a row. You know, if we could get a couple 3-pointers from those, we'd be in a completely different spot and looking at a different point to the rest of the season. While there's still 12 games left, you're right. It's going to be tough because we're not safe by any means, you know, and anything less than making the playoffs would be a complete failure. We can't afford that again. So
And all the people that are close to us have been winning their games recently. The bottom part of the like playoff table has been winning. The only people losing games in the Western Conference recently have been the top half, but they're all like 20 points ahead, so they can afford to lose the rest of the games. Like